The three, I don't want it. Start getting ourselves into the mentality, start utilizing what we have, using our ability to focus, using what we have as the ability to have a foundation inside, putting ourselves in that kind of a place. Start working with people, start working with your community, start working with your challenges, putting yourself to where you start to create a community. Connect with the networks, motivation, meditation, inspiration, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And so you can actually reach out to me if you want to see my YouTube channel. Subscribe, ZEROMLP2000@gmail.com. Created a practice about mentality, about the ability to be who you are on the inside. And I want to start breaking that down for you, start getting to that place where your professions, where your teams, where your environment starts to become the way in which you would like to see it. And it all starts with your mentality. So let's go ahead and start breaking that down and start getting into that ability inside of ourselves and start getting down with those kind of challenges. So the first place we got to realize is it's not versus somebody else. It's not off of somebody else's opinion. It's about being honest with yourself. And so one of the hardest traits to work with is self-honesty. And the reason why self-honesty is so hard to work with is because it's so easy to just let the things go that we really want to do. You know, when we're looking to achieve things, we're looking to have things happen for us, it's not going to happen unless you put yourself in a place where you're challenging yourself daily, where the things that you're wanting to work through start to happen on a daily basis, where you're putting yourself in a place where you're utilizing a positive aspect, the ability to see what's going on around you, the ability to see the challenges that you have in front of you only comes to the person who's willing to face off against their own challenges. And so it's not like you face against all of them at one time. It's like you take one thing at a time. You start getting into a way of doing things. It's like this new shake bottle that I just got, okay? This thing can do the shaking for you. But you have to really earn it in your life. You have to earn the ability to use the technology that you have. You have to look at the ways in which the things that you utilize on a daily basis are needed. And so since I was using that bottle so much, I ended up needing something that would actually do a position for me. So in other words, that's how it works in life though too. When you put yourself in a place where you're using what you have, where you're sitting down with your mentality and you're putting yourself in a place where you really need things, that's when the universe starts to put those things in your way. It starts to give you the ability to have those kinds of challenges. And see, it's when you're not willing to face off against those types of challenges where things get more difficult. So this is all about putting yourself in that place, asking yourself the questions that nobody else will ask you. And it's about getting into that ability to where you start to create a practice inside of yourself to where you start using your challenges to your advantage. So if you're asking yourself at home or in your office or in your profession, how can I start turning these handicaps into an advantage? How can I start biting at the little pieces of these challenges that I have? And I started to come up with a way to do that. It's actually sitting down and recognizing that focus is the foundation, that what you utilize, you're going to get as a result. And so if you want to achieve that place in a position, you got to put yourself in a place where you're so focused that the results are not a surprise, okay? So when we want things to happen around us and you're not putting in the time to do it, when you're not putting in the ability to challenge yourself to that level, when you're not focused to that place, don't be surprised when the results don't come back the way you are looking for them to be. So how do you start to turn them into your favor? How does the universe start to become on your side? How do you start to put the things that you would want to achieve into place? How would you start to want to manifest your ability for your focus to become a foundation? And so each of us have that kind of a place where we have to challenge it. And it's almost like The person who's willing to challenge it starts to see it happen. They start to want to manifest their being. They start to want to be who they are on the inside. And the person who is willing to do that, the person who's willing to push aside the things that are not meant for them, to start to embrace the things that are meant for them, start to see that there is a aspect beyond their own opinion. Okay? We all have a single thought process. It's when we can see past our own thought process. It's like biblically, it's written that God saw that light was good. Okay, but before that, he divided the light from the darkness. So we forget that that place exists. We forget that there is a stage above that good and bad that people think about. There's a place inside of ourselves where we utilize what we have inside, where the universe starts to become your friend, where your challenges no longer have the way to stop you. And it's completely up to you to find it for yourself. It's completely up to you to get down with your challenges to that level. And whatever aspect you're looking to be able to do that in, this is for you. It's inside of you that you find the ability to overcome those challenges. It's inside of you that you will find the journey, the path that you're on. It's inside of you that your focus starts to become a foundation. And so this is what we're talking about. We're talking about, when you're as simple as just being yourself. So if everything was taken away from you, what would you still have? Ask yourself that question. If every single thing on the face of the planet was taken away from you, what would you still have? And I would like to hear your comments on what you would have. I would like to hear your comments on the multiple networks, the multiple feeds that I have. That I would like to hear what you would do if everything that you had was taken away from you. How would you start over? Would you put yourself first? At that point, I can definitely tell you, you would. You would try to help other people out in the case of wanting to become yourself. You would want people to start to know you for you. You would want them to start to see you for yourself. That you would want to start to write things down. You would want to start to appreciate the things that you have. You would want to start to become simple. And you would want to start to be yourself. So let's dominate that part of ourselves. Let's get to that place where it doesn't matter what we have. It doesn't matter what you have. It matters who you are inside. It matters that you believe in yourself. It matters that you become who you are, that the light inside of you starts shining, that the being that you are has a level of focus, that you know that you are royalty, that you know that you are a king and a queen and a princess in this universe. And it's up for you to grab that place, to take that title, to be that person, to see that beauty inside of yourself. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to take work. It's going to take days. It's going to take weeks. It's going to take exhaustion. It's going to take parts of ourselves finding who we truly are on the inside to get there. It's going to take parts of who we are to manifest that level of being. And is it worth it? Well, a lot of people across the face of the planet start with nothing. They start with absolutely nothing. And they find a way to the top. Why are they able to do it and you're not? That's the question that we should be asking ourselves. We should be asking ourselves, if somebody else was able to do it, I can do it too. If somebody else could achieve a high level of success from a level of focus. And that's a place I started to ask myself that question. How do we get to that place? How do we start getting that level of vibration? How do other people start to see? How does that type of technique and that type of focus and that type of being start to be utilized? And I started to target in on that. I started to sit down and see why we need to do that. Why we need to study ourselves. Why we needed to get into the fact that when we want to be with somebody or we want companionship, that they're joining our company. Okay? And that is it is what it is. It is a company. It is your path. It is your journey. And the people that are going to join your journey, they're called companions. And the reason why they're called companions is because you always will have your company. You will always have your name. That is yours to have. That is your place to be. That is your level of focus to manifest. It's when other people look at you, it's when other people see you as that kind of light in the universe. When you are that focused, that they start to see the first part of my practice. They start to see the place where people are becoming motivation. And I've seen people out there say, I just don't know how to become motivated. Okay, it isn't you that becomes motivated, it's other people that see you as a reflection. It's when you become a tool in the universe. It's when the skills that you have start to become applied. And it's not always your angle. It's sometimes other people's angles that matter the most. And it's when you believe in yourself to the point where you see that the universe starts to throw signs at you that it's the right things, that the positivity starts to come out of it, that the manifestation within your being starts to come, that the reflection starts to radiate, that the Most High God has the ability to utilize you. Now, a lot of people have taken the time to ignore this. They haven't asked themselves the questions that are required to achieve a high level of success, but yet they want the success. They haven't put themselves in a place where they achieve that high level sales position, where they achieve that level singing, where they achieve that level writing, where they achieve that level speaking. And why is that? It's because they're not focused to that level where that becomes their total vibration, where their total being becomes a manifestation. And so how do we get there for ourselves? By not ignoring the little things that we do each day. Each little piece of what you do is a part of your focus. It's a part of what you have as your own foundation. We each create rituals. We each create patterns. If we like it or not, we are creating a pattern. If we choose to make our bed or we choose to not make our bed, our focus to be able to lie down at a made bed before we go to bed shows itself. You know what you work on. You know what you don't work on. You know the things that challenge you. You know the things that you know your diets. You know your mind. When do you take control of that? When do you sit down with yourself and you open your mind? You open the level of focus inside of you. You find that place called Mr. Determination, okay? Or Mrs. Determination. When do you find that place? And you terminate the negativity in your life. You allow that person to be signed off. That position for that positivity moves in. It gets a pay raise in your life. When you are firing the negativity, when you are letting those things go out of your life, the universe starts using the tools that you have, starts using the person that you are, starts using the reflection. It's when other people see you as a level of strength, they see you as a level of motivation. So when somebody comes to me and says to me, I just can't find motivation, I tell them, have you written it down? Have you tried to search out positivity? Have you put yourself in a place where you audit you, where you sit down with yourself and you say, well, I screwed up here, I screwed up here, and this is how I start to create a plan to overcome those challenges? When do you create the battle plan in your mind to turn you into Mr. Positive? When do you become Mr. Motivation in the universe? When do you find that inside of yourself? Or are you working at a position that you feel is holding you still? See, the universe doesn't work on opinion. Okay? It doesn't work in a way of I like and dislike. It works on a universal level of positive and negative forces within the universe. On an understanding that this is positive and this is not in your life. that you can find that truly who you are inside and overcome your challenges by being honest with yourself, that it doesn't matter what somebody else says. They just see a reflection of what your mind radiates. They just see a reflection of your understanding of your own universe, of your own being, that you are a blessing. When you let the universe fight your battles for you, when you don't hold to those types of things, watch the blessings that come your way. We know this happens when people pay their tithing or they donate time. Blessings start coming their way. Hours start to get increased. Pay starts to increase. By giving, we receive. When I realized what my mantra was, the set of words that drive me, the set of words that make me want to help other people is, I believe when I give, I receive more in return. I believe that when we give, we receive more. And so this universe asks us that question every day. What is it that you're giving to this universe so that you can receive more in your life? What is it that you're putting into this universe that is creating something to where other people become uplifted and see the riches being yielded through you? See, a lot of people don't think to that level. They don't give themselves that place of focus. They don't find themselves with the person that they are inside. They don't ask themselves those types of questions. And that's why I talk about writing stuff down. Because unless you start to study you, how in the world is the universe going to start working for you? Unless you start to sit down with you, how are you going to expect that the challenges that you face off against you can overcome? How are you going to expect if you're sitting on a page where everything is talking about good and bad, and when your mentality is seeing the things you're doing is positive? See, the universal aspect goes beyond opinion. It goes to a place of being, of realization that we are in this universe, that we have a purpose, that we have a path, that we have a journey, that we are a blessing in the universe. And see, that's what I get from biblical. I get the positive things. I get the suggestions to bring yourself towards positivity if you do this or you do that. See, I don't judge people. You know why I don't judge people? The reason I don't judge people is because I know that the only thing that we do to ourselves is we bring ourselves towards negativity. We start bringing ourselves towards positivity when we see the positivity and we fire Mr. Negativity out of our life. When we start to bring ourselves to a place where when results come back, this one's positive. When the results come back in the universe, the gifts start working through us.
I already told him exactly why. When I went in his room,
When we focus past our challenges, when we put ourselves in a place where what we have going on, we start to overcome. And so each day that we do that for ourselves, each day that we put ourselves in that place where we're so focused that the results come out, we're so focused that the challenges that we face off against no longer have the ability to stop you, okay? And it happens piece by piece, by one page or one writing at a time, or one ritual at a time. I've been staying strong on this diet of not eating meat for just about 3 weeks now, almost. And I look forward to doing and really never going back to eating meat again. Never having a holiday where I eat meat, getting to the point where I put the supplements into check, I put the diet into check, eating one meal a day, having meditation, having people that are meditating with me, bringing vibrations into that level of focus, into that place inside of ourselves where our beings are able to vibrate, bringing those types of people who support those types of things, and to have that kind of a life that is a 1% life. It's a billionaire's mentality to put yourself in that kind of place. To put yourself in a place where you are not going to settle for anything less than who you truly are, where what you have going on inside is going to become a reflection outwards. And it's slowly, it's step by step. It's one meditation session at a time. It's one speech at a time. It's one person at a time. It's like when I was out driving about 2 days ago, a guy got in my car and he was having a really hard time. And he heard my message. And it was for him that I did that message. It was for that person who's falling apart, who's trying to get themselves back together. It's for that person who's wanting to work on self-honesty and self-reflection and self-being, and starting to understand that they are beautiful in this universe, that they are absolutely blessings in this universe. And I look at my own path. I look at other people's paths. I see that growth is not a day thing. It doesn't just happen one day. It's a slow thing that you work out daily. It's a thing that you start putting down in front of yourself, and you start saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to achieve it. I'm going to work through my challenges one at a time. What I'm going to become at the end of this journey, if I can focus to that point where it's just as simple as I'm on this path, what amazing things can be possible. And I want you to see that for yourselves out there. I want you to connect with this network. I want you to become a part of that place inside of yourself. I want you to see your energy flow. I want you to see your beings have a place where you know this, that you put these techniques to work, you put these techniques to practice, and the results become not a surprise. And see, a lot of people, they don't want it. They don't want to work as hard as it takes to get there. They're not willing to get down with the challenges that they face off against, to get down with the universe at that kind of level. And it's not going to happen for you until you want it for yourself, okay? It doesn't happen when you just say it, okay? It doesn't happen when you just speak it. It happens when it becomes your whole entire being. When your vibration is at that level. You see, yesterday, okay, the day before yesterday, I had 2 people and I had 2 comments on my YouTube channel. I increased 4 people. I would like it if you guys would subscribe as well and get connected and hear my hundreds of videos and see the times when I was falling apart, so it can uplift you. So you can see that not only you're going through challenges, but we're all going through them together. Okay? I want you to see this as a light to uplift you, to see it as a way, as a path to find universal understanding. Okay? That goes beyond yours or my opinion. All right? It's not me versus you. This is for you versus you. This is for you to see that you can do this. You can achieve it. You can use the tasks that other people do. In the past, the wealthy, okay, the wealthy used to have scribes. They used to have people who wrote down stuff. In a place of business, when you start to head towards the top, you start having somebody in their position, their only position is to write everything down that you're doing. Everything down so that you can study it, so that you can set your appointments, so that you can achieve the things that you want to achieve. And it's at that universal wealth that I started to realize that we can all do that for ourselves. We can put ourselves in a place where our mentality, where we only allow positivity to be around us, where we only allow positivity to vibrate. I'm talking about the universe yielding that kind of stuff to you. I'm talking about the universe bringing you wealth in your mentality. I'm talking about the universe bringing you the ability for the person that you are inside who asks yourself the question sometimes, can I speak out my mind? And I believe in my own mentality. Okay? I was asked a question here. Do you believe in the New Age movement? Okay, I am my own movement. All right? I do motivation, meditation, and inspiration. I don't follow nobody in that way. I follow the mentality from within ourselves. I followed the ancient ways of the universe. The ancient ways where the darkness was divided from light. The biblical times when God saw the light before he made a choice of what that light was. What I'm talking about is a level of focus beyond focus, knowledge beyond knowledge, a place of manifestation from within one's being where we are sons and daughters of the Most High, where the universe becomes your friend, where the challenges, where the preachers and the speakers who have fallen short, okay, the ones who want to put the judgment on top of you don't even read the page where it says don't judge. I'm talking about the place where it isn't about yours or my opinion. It's about how things work in the universe, how you started your own path, how you started your own journey, how you ended up starting a path for yourself. Okay? It's that type of question. It's when you're so broken down that you are not afraid of yourself anymore. And that, a lot of people want to stop. A lot of people want to stop the person who chases after positivity, who finds inside of themselves that they have everything within. You know, they like to kill the people who call themselves enlightened. They like to seek out those people who are talking about what I talk about. You know, that's why they've tried to silence me. And it won't happen. Because you know what? These videos are out there for you. They're out there for you to see yourself. They're out for your level of focus. They're asking you the questions. You know, it's when you're, you know, having things like that are stopping you that you pick up this message and you hear what I'm saying. So, you know, it's inside of that I realized that I had to start speaking out. It's inside of the ability to overcome the things that, you know, people are wanting to. And how do we start to? Well, this practice will teach you how. This practice will bring you to the ways to overcome things like smoking, like drinking, like pornography. All the things that you want to overcome for yourself are right there in front of you if you give yourself the ability to do it. And it's focus that creates it. It's focus that gives you the ability to be who you are on the inside. It's focus that gives you a place of manifestation. It's focus that gives you a level where you become a blessing in the universe. And so, are we becoming that for ourselves? Are we becoming that light in this universe? Are we giving ourselves that place where the challenges that we actually face off against daily, are we getting to the place where our minds are clear in our professions, where we're not comparing ourselves to other people or other times? Are we getting to that place inside of ourselves where we create a foundation within who we are, where we recognize that focus is there for you? It is your friend. It is your ally. What you listen to, what you speak out, what you say, your focus is your ally. And when do we ally ourselves with focus? When do we get to the place where what we have going on inside starts to work its way outwards? Do you work on yourself on the inside? Do you spend the time on the person that you are to get to know you on the inside? Do you work through the person that faces off against the challenge inside of yourself? Do you focus to the point where positivity migrates outwards, where you manifest your being? All right, hopefully positivity only though, okay? Hello?
Yo, what's up?
How you doing?
Good, you?
Blessed. Have you had a
Yo.
good day?
Yeah, good, man. Yo, you can read energy?
I can. And I have been able to for a very long time. I've been doing meditation since I was 27 and I'm 34.
Yo, you think you can help me find the lottery numbers ticket
I can't do that kind of stuff. No, let me go ahead and explain how energy works, okay? So, a lot of people have different energy within their body. What I can do is help you to read your energy so you can start applying it so that you can use it in your advantage. You getting what I'm saying?
Yes.
So a lot of the thing that you like to do is you like to speak your mind a lot. And I don't mean just from your thought process. You like to talk.
Right.
And that means that you usually see a lot of blue around you. Okay? That also means that you like to spend your time in your depth perception. Because the voice, the ability and the energy in the throat works its way upwards, which means you don't do manual labor. Okay, and I've just spoken to you for just a minute, and I can tell that because of the type of energy that flows and the combination in which the energy flows inside of you. Okay? So, the real challenge, though, is claustrophobia. It's the actual, you like to have people around you, but when too many start to come around you, the energy starts to diminish, yeah?
Right.
And so how do we start getting that energy to start to flow in that way so that you can expand to that next level? You got to sit down with yourself. You got to start studying. You know, a lot of people spend with that kind of energy. They start spending time doing a lot of exercise. They put themselves in a place, and sometimes growth is uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure you know what I'm saying in your own position in your own life.
Yeah.
So that's how energy flows. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if even in the place where you are, you see blues and purples, and all the time.
Right.
And that's because those are the parts of the universe that attract you in the universe the most. It's actually beyond just a subconscious level. It's actually how your energy inside of your being flows. You see, I've done a lot of different stuff in my life. I spent 2.5 years doing car sales, 3.5 years doing car sales, and I've literally spent 5 years driving people, speaking to over 100,000 people, almost a decade of meditation. And so people used to come in the sauna, and they knew that I was the best in there, and I spent 5 hours in a sauna without walking out. My meditation works, you know what I'm saying?
5 hours, huh?
Uh-huh. See, it's because of my mantra that I was able to bypass that. So what I'm saying is that in the first place I searched that out was when I was doing sales. I wanted to achieve the place where that characteristic called blush would be able to come out for my clients. I wanted to actually glow, in a sense. And that's how I started getting to a place where I was first and second place every month when I was doing car sales.
Good.
And so use that to your advantage. Use the ability and start focusing into your depth perception. Start putting that stuff in front of yourself so you can start to see that. And a lot of the ability to voice oneself comes through comparing to others. So if you can find your way to not compare yourself to others, then your strengths will start coming out of you. You understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah, but do you believe in a coincidence or it's a meaningful coincidence?
I believe that every single thing that happens in the universe... Okay, first off, each of us have our own opinion.
Right.
When we go past opinion, it becomes universal aspect. At a universal level, all things happen in a way of which there are positive and negative forces in the universe. So what I believe in is that this brought you there this way so that you could see the positivity working in your own life. Because for me, in my world, the way I think, the way in which I do things, there's only two things, positive and negative. And I see this as a positive thing. You getting what I'm saying? I don't live off of my own opinion. So I write stuff down, I sit down in meditation, I focus to that point where what moves in my direction is either positive or negative forces, and I identify with those things, and I only allow positivity to become a part of my life.
Right.
So, and I learned this because I had a friend with stage 4 metastasized cancer that I was working with. And she was dying, and the doctors taught her the good and bad was what existed. And I learned from her that that was what was killing her. And that it didn't truly exist. What truly exists is the practice that I teach, which is motivation, meditation, and inspiration, focused knowledge, and discipline. The only things that truly exist. You can go into any biblical, you're always going to know any, across the face of the planet. You're always going to find this thing called knowledge. You're always going to find this thing called focus. And you're always going to find this thing called discipline. Anywhere you go. And that's what really exists. And positive and negative forces in the universe. And Newton knew this. He knew that for each action there's an equal and opposite, right?
Right.
So that's the way in which I view the universe. That's the way in which I view things. And so that's ancient. It's not new. And it's funny because I have multiple feeds going, and I have a Instagram feed going, and there's a guy, he sends out this thing, are you part of this new age movement? And I said, no, this thing's been ancient. This thing's been going on for a long time. You know what I'm saying? This isn't no new technology. This is mentality. This is the able mentality before we had excuses. You know, what about when they were having to make stuff themselves? When if you got sick, you died. Those days. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is that kind of mentality. And it applies not just then, it applies nowadays too. And those people that don't spend even a 10% going inwards, right? Like when I used to do car sales, we used to have to walk around cars when they weren't there. And when I would dance with customers, I literally would dance with them. You know what I'm saying? Like they would go to get in the car and I knew how to get it open and I knew how to get the door open so they would get inside the car. You know, I had so many drives, it was just like, there was days I was doing maybe 20 in a day. So what I'm talking about is that kind of a place where the vibration comes. And even Conor McGregor talks about this too. What he said that really, I was listening to his stuff, and he said, I used to imagine going in a parking lot and the parking lot spot would be open for me. Then when I went to the parking lot and the parking lot spot was open for me, I would be in joy. Because he focused to the point where the results were that the things that were not meant for him moved out of the way. And he said it even once more when he said, I can imagine 3 belts on my shoulder. So that shows that he was focusing into that place where the things that were moving out of the way were moving out of the way on their own. And so we each have that ability inside of ourselves to bypass those kinds of challenges that we each face off against when we're willing to go inwards. When we use our imagination, when we use our mind, when we open our minds, when we become a tool in the universe has the ability to use the tools that you have. And so on an inwards journey, you start to become the student in your life. You start to see that, you know, is this page, this result's going to come out. And it's interesting when I see people that are surprised in the results. It's interesting when I see people who want to to say, oh, well, that was just luck. That was just a coincidence. Because that's not how your journey started. Things started filling in your life. You started having people in your life. You started having challenges in your life. You started having things that you had to individually work through. And so, are we focusing to that level where the knowledge starts to open up inside? See, this is what self-study is about. It's studying your path. It's studying your journey. It's studying who you are. It's becoming the one that you are inside. And it's inside of yourself that the message of freedom lays. See, it's not outside of you. Like, that's a big secret that a lot of people hold themselves back from. The message is inside of you. It's inside of the knowledge that you have. It's inside of the focus. It's inside of the universe itself. You know, they're starting to see that even computers are starting to be able to do calculations. They're starting to see that, you know, things like they're creating the first computer and robot combo because they're finding the mathematical equations. You know, even the mind has energy combinations. It has, you know, when you face off against this challenge, I can give you a perfect example of this. I went to a car with a certain somebody who locked themselves out of their car. And they were more worried about the car being locked than how to open the car. So we got to that place and I explained to them, it's just learning the equation. Okay? And that mathematical equation, once worked on, was able to be overcome because you focus to the ability to overcome the equation. And so, at a certain part inside, we start to see these kind of equations, and we see that there's no such thing as a coincidence. Okay, that each part of your mathematical design is that you're a blessing in this universe. And I got two people on here. Okay, blessings, positivity only, please. So, hello.
Hello. Yo, explain. Continue with the coincidence.
So the day you were born, you started with a birth date, right?
Right.
So from that day, every single day that you're on the face of the planet, you're one day older, right?
Yes.
The Earth has a certain date that it started, yeah? You would say, I mean, we don't know the exact date, but it had a mathematical equation attached to it.
Right.
So, if yet we could see beyond our own opinions, then the universe has its own math in it. We know this. Now, this doesn't go against whoever created it or anything like that, because it's still, you're one day older, right?
Right.
So, yet, if we could see that page where everything that happens is happening scientifically in a way in which the universe has a purpose. Positivity turns.
I have no idea about your issue, but I think you have a politic issue, right?
What? Okay, I'm gonna cut that out because it has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. I'm talking about universal angle. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm talking about things when you want to get to the top 1% in the universe, what it takes to get there. You know, when we used to see the people that I was working with and their positions were 320,000, 350,000, and I was working right beside them. I'm talking about how to get to that place inside where universal wealth yields itself to you. Do you get what I'm saying?
How do you
Start.
how do you make the universe respond to what you want?
Bingo. Okay, that's the best question, actually. That's the best question I've been asked today. Here we go. Positivity as a foundation of focus. As soon as you see everything that happens is either positive or negative in your life, but the thing is, self-honesty has to become a part of that foundation. So as soon as one is able to truly, like, you see how I speak my mind, how I didn't allow that person to continue as soon as he was trying to take it to an angle that we're not even talking about. Do you get what I'm saying? So it isn't versus somebody else. And Bruce Lee knew this. He in fact even said it in a way, he said, when I throw a punch, I put my whole self into it. And he wasn't just referring to the inwards breath. He was talking about the inwards breath and the outwards breath, the simplicity of understanding that there's a inwards breath and an outwards breath. For each action, there's an equal and opposite. Do you see the connection there?
Right.
So as soon as one reaches that place where what they start searching out is positivity, and they start to see positivity as a foundation, then the foundation starts to see the test. In the identifying of those challenges lays universal wealth. So it's when you see yourself as a tool in the universe for being yourself. And a lot of people teach the minute that you want to be yourself, right? They teach this. They teach you're now selfish. Well, what happens when all you have is you? You have nothing else to compare to. You're not taking anything from anybody. Is you all of a sudden have to be yourself? Is that selfish?
I don't know.
So that's where that lays inside. And a lot of people don't give themselves that place to allow the universe to work that way in their own life. But yet they want the blessings that come from being that type of mentality.
When let's say someone is cussing out, is alone, and that person is cussing out something about a situation that frustrates them, do you
Very
think
good.
that the universe is aware of your frustration?
So we got to realize that this comes from energy inside of the being, and this is the part where I talk about meditation. So I talk about focus for 30 minutes a day, meditation for 10, and inspiration for 20 minutes. And it's very good that you're actually asking this question right now, because when a person is using any form of energy inside of their body, you saw how I read your energy, right?
Right.
So each individual energy field inside of the body is related to the whole entire vibration.
Right.
So when somebody is yelling out with a lot of anger, okay, and I have seen other people that have done that too, okay. One of the people that is actually closest to me actually had to go through a lot of that challenges inside of themselves. And when the energy starts to identify your strengths, and that's why I do energy readings, is really so that people can see where to work from. Where actually their energy, what evolves, what drives them, what they should focus into. So what happens when we're really upset is the ability to stand our ground starts opening up. And this type of energy, it's called the grounding energy because the place and foundation inside of your body where it starts to grow from is red. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so when we're using that kind of energy into the universe, we can create scars inside of our bodies. We know that cancer has been caused by people being upset before. It has actually, like, stress has been chosen as a cause to why people get cancer. We know that. It's there. Like, I've seen people that are just so upset, and it's interesting because when that type of energy is the kind that's coming out, isn't it interesting that the body turns red?
Right.
So for me, it's just an unapplied, how do I say this? It's a unconscious applied energy. So how do we get that energy to start flowing positive now and start to overcome those challenges? And that is where meditation comes in, self-study comes in. But the first thing is you got to stop the world crushing you from the outside before you can get inwards. We're a lot of the design in which our environments and our mentalities have come like a spider. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it crushes you on the outside instead of fortifies you.
I'm gonna give you an example. You know, let's say you live in New York or Washington, where there's winter and snow.
Yep.
In winter, the birds, without knowing, they go away in the south because they listen to their inner intuition, or like.
That's the universe working.
And now that's in their mind. They know they have to go to the south.
Yep.
But sometimes us humans, we just go and live, and a perfect coincidence happen. Is that like I don't know how to explain.
It's ignorance. It's ignorance, because when you truly become yourself, you follow that path. See, you started your journey the day you were born. So the day that you were born, you started your path. At a certain point, you started having dreams, you started having goals, you started having things happen. Just little by little, those negative things, those little storms started moving in, and you started building that shelter. Instead of moving with your own self. And a lot of people, they slave themselves that way. Because the mentality works like this. It works through fight and flight, slavery and emotion, time and organization, and ultimately focus and knowledge. And so when a person wants to become wealthy in more than one way, and I don't look at it as just funds. I look at every single aspect as wealth. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
When they want that kind of wealth, then it has to be manifested. It has to come from within you. It doesn't come from outside of you. It starts coming from within you. And so when you want that kind of wealth and a lot of people have achieved like financial wealth, for instance, like what they've done is it's come from within. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so if yet one can put that into a scientific format, then that's even closer to understanding the universe. Because universe is given hints by scientists itself. Okay. Whatever creator is believed in, we know that there's this process in which we are alive. We know this page. We know for one fact that we are breathing, right?
Yeah.
That the mere breath itself is a blessing. That we are even just breathing is a blessing. So it's in that simplicity starts to build. Yeah. So like a lot of people ignore their own universal being. They ignore that